Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. The Southwest TV Translator Association underwrites the news, and Dolores County Broadcasting Network provides the support for DCTV.
Here at the News at Noon show, we assemble the best and most interesting news we can find from the area, and Jerry Tope brings you the local weather and related news. Give us a call with news tips or topics you'd like to see covered. The number is 677-4119.
We appreciate that you're watching DCTV. Today's show is live on Tuesday at noon and rebroadcast at 2:30 and 8 p.m. and again re-aired on Friday at noon, 2:30 and 8. Today, November 8th, is Election Central Night at DCTV. Join us for local and national race and issue returns starting at 6 p.m. We'll be updating to Facebook and our Twitter feed. Now, here's the news for November 8th, 2016. The Durango Herald reported taxpayers again must foot the bill for cleaning up a Colorado mine site previously operated by embroiled company Red Arrow Gold Corp. Tony Waldron of Colorado's Division of Mining Reclamation and Safety said, "We wrote a violation and recalculated his, Red Arrow owner Craig Liuco's, bond, and he didn't respond." Trouble began in 2013 when state inspectors visited a relatively minor but active mine site on which Red Arrow held a permit about 7 miles northwest of Silverton, called the Freda Mine, not to be confused with the mysterious Freda H. Finding a litany of violations that posed a risk of water pollution and erosion, DMRS determined Liuco's bond of $8,685 would not cover the cost of cleanup, estimating instead it would take $19,000. But when Liuco did not post the additional bond and failed to attend several state meetings about his company, Colorado's Land Reclamation Board in 2014 revoked his license and seized the bond. The $10,315 difference will now be covered by a fund set up for these types of situations. Part will come from federal money and another portion will be covered by a severance tax on Colorado's gross income taken from oil and gas and carbon dioxide production, which contributes about $130,000 a year to the state's mines cleanup efforts. Kristen Brown, a reclamation specialist with DMRS, said work at the Freda Mine is likely to begin in the summer of 2017. She said crews, among other tasks, will need to haul off trash from a recently erected mill building, close 2 mine portals, and take on a large project to regrade mine waste piles that are eroding into Ruby Creek, a tributary of Mineral Creek. Brown also found during a 2015 inspection a mined waste pile outside the permit boundary on adjacent Forest Service land. Brown estimated the project would take a couple of weeks to complete once crews can gain access to the hard-to-get-to site near Ophir Pass at an elevation of 11,200 feet. The approximately 1-acre site is relatively small when compared with other polluters in the heavily mined Animas River watershed and is not included in the Environmental Protection Agency's recently declared Superfund listing, which will address 48 mining sites around Silverton. Liuco, who lives in Arizona, also has not paid any of the $339,667 in violations issued by the state, Hartman said, adding that the amounts due have been sent to the state's collection office. When contacted last week, Liuco said he was unable to comment because of pending litigation. Waldron said cases like Liuco's are a rarity in the state. He said the state has about 1,600 mining sites permitted and about $528 million in financial warranties for mine sites and another $23 million for prospecting sites. He said legal action against Liuco would cost more in legal expenses than what we'd gain back, so it's not likely the state would press charges against him.
According to the Cortez Journal, today some 53,000 people live in Durango and the surrounding county of La Plata. And all along the Animas, people are still dying before their time, particularly women in midlife succumbing not to diabetes or heart disease, but to suicide. 2.5 times as many people die by suicide as homicide in La Plata County, in this country. Among whites in 2014, it was nearly 9 times as many, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Although more men than women take their own lives, the rate of suicide has nearly doubled among middle-aged white women since 1999, rising from 7 per 100,000 to 12.6 in 2014, helping to explain a startling increase in their early mortality. The numbers are even worse for middle-aged white women with a high school diploma or less. For them, the suicide rate has more than doubled over the past 15 years, according to a Washington Post analysis of federal health data. Most of the victims lived in small towns and rural areas, particularly in the southeast and in mountain states, where social isolation can be acute. Colorado has the fourth highest suicide rate in the nation for white women ages 45 to 54. Among Colorado counties and a population of at least 30,000, La Plata has the highest.
More concentrated and possibly affordable housing looks likely in Durango. According to the Herald, the Durango Planning Commission approved a proposed 194-unit apartment complex near Walmart after residents raised concerns over traffic, views, parking, and building height on Monday. The Durango City Council must still annex the land before the project can move forward. Commissioners lauded the project for its thoughtful design and granted its parking and height variances. It will also help meet Durango's need for housing through infill, Commissioner Jeff Hickok said. NE Development is proposing 7 buildings, a clubhouse, an outdoor pool, small business center, a bus stop, and a dog park in a development along an extension of Escalante Drive between Walmart and Home Depot. The developer anticipates 128 one-bedroom units and 66 two-bedroom units. Some residents questioned the high density and the parking plan. The company is required to build 408 parking spaces, but the developer was 16 spaces short without a variance, even counting spaces in driveways. A study found that other apartment complexes in town are partially empty at night when all the residents are at home, planner Mark Williams said. This helped convince commissioners a variance was warranted. To help make sure garages aren't used for storage, the developer will also provide 198 covered bike spaces. The developer will also provide a bus stop. Other residents asked for speed bumps and roundabouts to slow traffic, especially trucks going between big box stores. City engineer Greg Boyson said narrowing traffic lanes and the landscaping should help slow traffic. The developer asked for a height variance to build to 47 feet rather than 39 feet to help with the snow shed. Some residents felt it could block their views of the mountains.
According to the Durango Herald, police on Monday identified a man who was found dead Saturday at the Durango Dog Park as 59-year-old Brian Ackelson. His body was found about 9:30 a.m. near the entrance of the dog park, a bit uphill and to the west. It appears he died of a medical problem or exposure to the cold, said Lieutenant Ray Shoup, spokesman for the Durango Police Department. There were no obvious signs of trauma or foul play, he said. It looks like he walked to the location and collapsed there, he said. An autopsy is scheduled Wednesday. Ackelson was living a transient lifestyle in Durango. It is possible he was camped out nearby. Anyone who may have had contact with Ackelson on Friday is asked to call Detective Brian Heaton at 375-4734.
The rich cultural diversity of the Four Corners area is just starting to be more openly addressed and shared as there is more focus on the range of ancient Puebloan peoples with a diversity of thought-provoking mythologies or histories and fascinating worldviews. A story from the Cortez Journal relates the Zuni viewpoint and their arts. Small, intricately carved fetishes of ceremonial animals and figures are a popular form of contemporary art created by the Zuni tribe of eastern New Mexico. The origins and significance of the Zuni fetishes were discussed during a conference put on by the Society of Cultural Astronomy in the American Southwest at the Crow Canyon Archaeology Center in late October. The earthly directions are symbolized by beast gods in Zuni culture and are often depicted in fetishes hand-carved from bone, jasper, turquoise, marble, coral, amber, abalone, conch shells, mother of pearl, fossilized mammoth tusks, antler, and other materials. The mountain lion represents the north, the badger the south, the shambling bear the west, and fox or wolf the east. The eagle is the intermediary between humans and sky powers, and the mole or shrew signifies the nadir below. Presenter Von Del Chamberlain, who is studying the art form, said the Zuni realized the meaning of direction and how it relates to everything around them. Tradition relates certain animals with protective and survival aspects to each of the directions. Other Zuni fetishes take the form of corn maidens, also an important aspect of the tribe's culture and daily life. Corn maiden fetishes usually contain two prominent symbols, a simple star cross and dragonflies. In Zuni culture, dragonflies are shamanistic creatures. They symbolize water and clouds and are messengers, Chamberlain said. The refined and provocative artwork that represent the ancient Zuni culture have made its fetishes a desired art form worldwide. Chamberlain says they are made from the body of Mother Earth and are treasured by people who consider them to be the remains of early times, imbued with spirits more powerful than themselves.
According to the Durango Herald, a surgery technician who pleaded guilty to taking fentanyl intended for patients at a suburban Denver was sentenced Monday to more than 6 years in prison. The theft of the powerful painkiller by Rocky Allen, a former Navy medic who is HIV positive, raised concerns that hundreds of patients may have been exposed to the disease through possibly contaminated needles. Allen was fired in January from Swedish Medical Center after another worker saw Allen switch a fentanyl syringe for one containing saline. Allen was also fired from a series of hospitals around the West after being suspected of stealing syringes and was court-martialed for stealing drugs while serving in Afghanistan in 2011. He said he suffered from depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. He was sentenced to 78 months in prison. And now here's our weather report.
There are no significant changes in our regional forecast since yesterday. The high pressure and mild sunny fall days will continue at least until the end of the week. At some time during the upcoming weekend, it is going to weaken a little bit, but Weather Service is not expecting moisture for our area for 10 to 14 days, which means that these nice days and cool nights will still continue beyond the weekend. Rains will stretch from the Great Lakes to the Middle Mississippi Valley and will move eastward to the northeast and mid-Atlantic by Wednesday afternoon, then begin to move off the coast by Wednesday evening. The activity over the central and southern plains will close off, creating a low over the lower Rio Grande Valley and central northern Mexico by tomorrow morning. It will continue to move southwestward into Mexico by tomorrow evening. In the meantime, the energy will boost showers and thunderstorms over the southern plains and lower Mississippi Valley. The showers and thunderstorms will move southeastward to parts of the central and eastern Gulf Coast by tomorrow evening. The showers and thunderstorms will remain over western Texas through Wednesday and into Thursday. A front just off the Pacific Northwest will move inland to the northern high plains and Great Basin by Wednesday, and a plume of moisture will flow nearly parallel to the northwest coast and move slightly onshore by tomorrow morning, but will weaken significantly by tomorrow evening into Thursday. The system will cause rain over parts of the Olympic Peninsula through tonight. Overnight, the rain will move onshore over the Pacific Northwest and the northern California coast, reducing to a small area over western Washington state by tomorrow evening. The highs for the next 5 days and more will continue to be in the low 60s. Lows just barely into the upper 20s also for the next week is likely. And in case you remember that we were all 26-degree nights in yesterday's forecast, as predicted, there is a change from yesterday's 5 of a kind, and there was a divergence of opinion on what those lows would actually be last night. So, as promised, I took a look back and found that the low temp for last night at the weather data station 1 mile west-southwest of my place was marked at the low of 38 degrees. But there was a chill factor down to 32, and then there's that pesky dew point thing to consider, and frost on all my vehicles around the place. So the NWS, which was saying temps last night would be 36, was closest. But the composite our tech director works and puts together may have been equally close to if chill and dew factors are included. What did you have? Is anyone out there? Will you share your data with us? Now back to the news.
According to the Cortez Journal, Empire Electric Association is reporting an active scam in the company's service territory, according to a notice on the company's website. A person pretending to work for Empire Electric is contacting local businesses and threatening to shut off their power if demands are not met within a limited time. A business owner recently lost money after being approached by a person pretending to work for Empire Electric. He was approached on the weekend, and the owner thought this might be a scam. He was told by the person to call the After Hours 800 number to speak with his supervisor. The person told the business owner that Empire Electric had reassessed deposits on businesses on business accounts, and he owed a past due amount of $500. The owner was skeptical, but when the person called him back, the caller ID showed the Empire Electric main number of 565-4444. The owner, not wanting to lose business by having his power shut off, paid the amount requested. Empire Electric is urging people not to fall victim to this scam. The company sends multiple notices to members before disconnecting services and will not disconnect on the weekend when the office is closed, and will not request a money back payment. The company urges members to be on guard and to report any suspicious collection calls to the billing office at 970-565-4444 or 800-709-3726.
Facts. Just give me the facts, please. One of the top 10 myths in the arguments against global warming says the sun is to blame. Over the past few hundred years, the sun's activity, including the number of sunspots, has increased, causing the world to get warmer. That's what those who claim this also say, and they say that when the sun naturally cycles to a cooler period, then the Earth will too. Scientists say in the last 35 years of global warming, the sun has shown a slight cooling trend, while the climate has still been heating up. In the past century, solar activity can explain some of the increase in global temperatures, but a relatively small amount. Solar activity refers to the activity of the sun's magnetic field and includes magnetic field-powered sunspots and solar flares. A study published in the journal Atmospheric Chemistry and Physics in December 2011 revealed that even during a prolonged lull in the sun's activity, the Earth still continued to warm. The study researchers found that the Earth absorbed 0.58 watts of excess energy per square meter, more was absorbed than escaped back into space during the study period from 2005 to 2010. A time when solar activity was low. Myth gone.
According to the Durango Herald, hundreds of drone enthusiasts will converge for a first-ever drone summit later this month at Spaceport America, a sign of the New Mexico facility's effort to diversify its offerings. Spaceport officials are hoping to attract between 500 and 1,000 participants and spectators for the three-day event, which starts November 11th. It's a way to open our doors to those who wouldn't normally interact with a live commercial spaceport, Rosa Banuelos, Spaceport Business Development Manager, told the Las Cruces Sun News. The Spaceport Authority hopes the event will not only be profitable, but the start of something that will grow year to year, Banuelos added. The conference will include drone racing, a drone filmmaking contest, and workshops, including one with Sean Taylor of Albuquerque. Considered an ace drone racing pilot, Taylor recently won the Drone World's Championship in Hawaii. He believes drones are appealing to a mass audience, not just hobbyists. Roughly 1.9 million small, unmanned aerial vehicles or systems will be sold for hobbyists' use this year nationwide, according to the Federal Aviation Administration. Another 600,000 for professional purposes. The FAA believes 7 million drones will be sold in 2020. Spaceport America is currently going through a change in leadership. Daniel Hicks, an engineer who had a senior management position at White Sands Missile Range, was named the new CEO in September. He replaces Christine Anderson, who resigned this summer after taking the helm in 2011.
On a little less adventurous note, the Durango Library is now getting into gaming. Well, that according to the Durango Herald, meaning that the Durango Public Library bought a collection of board games for families to loan out and enjoy game nights at home. There are 11 games for checkout, including Catan, Pandemic, Dominion, and Mogul, and the collection will likely double by the end of the year, said Teen Services librarian Corinna Mannion. Hobby games such as board games, dice games, and role-playing games have seen a resurgence in popularity and accounted for $880 million in sales nationwide in 2014, according to gaming trade publication ICV2. The library expects the fairly complex games to appeal to young adults. Library Assistant Director Colleen Galvin said, These are really expensive games that not everybody might have a chance to buy or play on their own. What a perfect way for the library to provide a resource for our new adults. The library, however, isn't looking into video games because the popularity of games constantly shifts. Board games present their own challenges with their dozens of small pieces. But Mannion has carefully bagged all the pieces and created a listing for each game so she can make sure games are playable. The system is working thus far, she said. The games are available for those 13 and older at the library's reference desk. Library staff members are also open to suggestions for new games to add. What a great idea. We should have a game night in the addition to the VFW Bingo on Thursdays in Dove Creek.
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of October 31st through November 6th. A resident requested assistance on an issue involving property laws. A resident reported a lost black calf. A deputy responded to a missing person report. The person was safely found. Deputies arrested a man following a stabbing at the Blue Mountain Trailer Park. Officers responded to a report of a disturbance at a local residence. Upon arrival, a summons for violation of a protection order was issued. That's it for today's Roundup. Stay tuned for more updates later this week.
For today's High Country happenings, in Cortez, a street warning that 7th Street will be closed to through traffic from South Beach east to South Madison Street from Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. through Wednesday, 11 the 9th at 5 p.m. City crews will be preparing the street for patching on Wednesday. Detour signs will be directing traffic around the construction area. And in entertainment events, November 12th at the Sunflower Theater in Cortez, the group Carutse Roma will be performing starting at 7:30 p.m. It indicates they bring the party, so it's a stand-up and dance type of show. Carutse Roma, or Gypsy Wagon, is a high-energy Colorado-based Roma music band who combine classic Roma songs with unique original tunes along with modern dance-oriented and gypsy punk styles. Fiddle, accordion, and trumpets are backed by guitar, bass, and drums, while lead vocal harmonies are offered in 6 different languages. Carutse Roma play special events of all kinds in the Four Corners area and love to load up the Gypsy Wagon to bring their diverse sound to festivals, weddings, and parties farther down the road. Also coming up November 14th at the Sunflower Theater, presented by the Cortez Public Library is an award-winning film called Landfill Harmonic. The world sends us garbage, we send back music. It is free admission with a suggested donation of $5. Landfill Harmonic follows the recycled orchestra of Catura, a Paraguayan musical youth group who live next to one of South America's largest landfills. This unlikely orchestra plays music from instruments made entirely out of garbage. When their story goes viral, the orchestra must navigate a new world of arenas and sold-out concerts. And when a natural disaster devastates their community, the orchestra provides a source of hope for the town. The film starts at 7 p.m. at the Sunflower Theater in Cortez. All of the happenings are posted up on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the embedded YouTube replays of the live show and the DCTV 5-day forecast. Email us at dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station at 677-4119 and we'll be sure to get your news on air.
Thanks for tuning in. A reminder that this program is aired live at noon Monday through Wednesday, then rebroadcast at 2:30 and 8 p.m., and again aired Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the same order at noon, 2:30, and 8 p.m. each day, respectively.
And don't forget to tune in tonight, Tuesday, November 8th, for Election Central Live. Starting at 6 p.m., we'll be updating results to DCTV News at Noon Facebook page and via Twitter. The phone line will be open. We're especially looking forward to the update of local returns.
For Kendra Cook, Jerry Tope, and everyone at DCTV with the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.